The world is changing fast and the need for a green, digital and resilient economy is urgent. But are we adapting quickly enough? The future demands new skills, fresh thinking and bold action. Despite the old saying, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. Can the ChemSkills project, launched by the European Commission in 2023, create momentum and prepare the chemical industry's workforce for this transformation? Let's discover how the chemical sector can build the skills needed for tomorrow in this masterclass. With Anni Siltanen from the Chemical Industry Federation of Finland and online by Marta Da Pian, former coordinator of the Italian Chemical Society Young Group. Ladies, welcome.
Thank you so much.
Anni, you are the project manager of the ChemSkills project. Could you tell us more about the project and its main objectives?
Yes, thank you. In a nutshell, the ChemSkills project is an EU Erasmus Plus funded project. We look at skills and competence needed for the chemical sector triple transition. So basically we look at green and digital as well as skills needed for the chemical strategy for sustainability. And we firmly believe that it's with people with skills that we will make the transition happen. So that's what the ChemSkills project in a nutshell is all about.
Okay, thank you. Marta, from a student's perspective, what are the most important skills needed for the green and digital transition in the chemical sector?
So from a student perspective, there are many skills that are needed, and students are very much equipped with what they learn during the university time to go through into this transition. But if I have to pick up some keywords, let's say, and some main important topic into this transition that I think are really, really important is, of course, understanding chemistry and its process technology. So that's fundamental, but that's not enough. We really need to go far and beyond and to do a step forward into the system thinking, into data literacy, and into sustainability awareness.
Anni, do you see the biggest skill gaps today and how is ChemSkills addressing those?
The ChemSkills is a big project. We have a lot of people working on the skills foresight in terms of the project. And we try to also include people working in the industry to actually give us insight on how the industry sees this. Now, I would say like the biggest, worry and issue for the industry are at the moment actually the STEM skills. So science, technical, engineering, and mathematics. Actually, also basic skills and how we deal with the basis for what is then later coming in the vocational education and training or academia. So I would say STEM is really the basics that we firmly need in the beginning to start with. And we need transversal skills such as communication skills, dealing with people, working with different kinds of consortia, building all kinds of cooperational groups to work together. So it's, I would say, a bit twofold. You need those STEM skills and everything related to that. And then you need other kinds of skills to then really make the industry prosperous and work with other people.
So on the one hand, hard skills, knowledge-based, and on the other hand, soft skills.
Yes.
To smoothen things.
Yes. I don't like the term soft skills that much because I think it's by far not really soft if we want to make the industry prosper in Europe and competitive. So I would like to call them maybe people skills rather than soft skills. But I know the EU calls them soft skills still.
Oh, I didn't know that. So, Marta, over to you. How can students and young professionals contribute to bridging these gaps? I mean, you are the people of the future.
Yes, and I totally second what Anni just said. So those are the most important things to achieve, right? And I would say that from let's start from the student perspective, right? Students should not be, first of all, afraid of studying and afraid of losing and wasting their time studying stuff that are probably they don't see them actual, because those are the fundamentals. We should encourage that they should not let go these fundamental skills, and they should not let go this fundamental knowledge, because this is the building blocks from where we start building anything else. And they are not a waste of time. And that's really essential and crucial to keep them alive. But on top of it, I would also really say that the young people in all of the spheres should really contribute towards building a good network, because any transferable skill, any additional skill that you can build comes from a good network. So if you have a good network on top of it, then you learn how to communicate, then you learn how to sell, then you learn how to move more into the digital realm. And this is something that it's still not yet on the perfect itself at the moment. So we're still probably looking too much around our small university, our small country, and we do not collaborate as much. And we start collaborating maybe at the PhD level. But before, it's something a little bit uncommon. And that would be my main point. So as more as we push for these people, for young people to build a good network, then all the other transferable skills can really grow at this point.
Okay, thank you. So we have the hard skills, the fundamental skills you call it. We have the people skills that you call networking skills. All very valid. These ChemSkills need to be implemented in various sectors. And the ChemSkills project is around that. For instance, consumer chemicals, fertilizer sector. How is digitalization changing the day-to-day work of professionals, for instance, in the consumer chemical sector?
Yeah, so the way that I see this is changing, it's more on the amount of data that need to be processed now with digitalization. So we're producing more data. There are more papers, there are more articles, there is everything. It's just in larger scale that only with digital tools, with digital resources, we're able to really take into account all this data and get informed decisions. So that's the main point that I see where we are going. And on top of that, of course, I would also include the new era of AI technology, because this is expanding even more the data needed, but also it's exposing a problem connected to that the data quality needs also to be assessed. So it's not just that now we have more data and thanks to the tools that we have, we can get more informed decision, but we need to be conscious about the data that we're using, the quality of this data. And digitalization, it's really, we should see it as a tool to give us to a direction where there is actually more transparency, more traceabilities of this data, and this data can be double-checked in a quicker way, so we get more efficiency out of that, but we also have the power to analyze more.
And for the fertilizer sector, what specific green skills are most in demand in that sector?
There is also the need of people that can monitor what's happening. So going a little slightly into the regulatory side of the fertilizers sector, where you really talk a lot about green chemistry, life cycle assessment, waste management, and all of that really requires also people that know what we're talking about and are able to monitor the outcome of what we're trying to achieve.
What are the main barriers to adopting new digital technologies, and what skills are needed to overcome those barriers?
I think main barriers at the moment might be skills.
Skills.
I think there's a lot of people probably still who do not have enough digital skills or do not understand the digitalization of industry in the sense of really using all the tools that we might have. I think it also takes courage to actually then admit that we need more skills, we need better skills, we need better understanding, more knowledge. And I think this might be one of the main barriers for everybody to actually take up.
Marta, what kind of barriers do you see?
So as Annie just said, I also see exactly the same barrier, that the skill itself, it's a barrier, but it's not just the skills and stuff. So being digital, even though we already have native digital generation, right? But it's also the confidence into being digital, because all of us are exposed to digital system. Like right now, we're also hosting something that somehow it's digital, right? And we were not exposed to that few years ago, but we adapt. But it took confidence to adapt. It took people to be brave enough to do this leap of faith and trust the new digital system. So with every change comes a lot of questions, and that's also part of the skills that we should address. Build confidence in the people that changing, it's not always bad.
Okay, so it's a little bit like a generation gap. Marta, you represent, of course, the younger generation. How eager is this generation to upskill their abilities, or should I say their sustainabilities?
So sustainability, it's amazing. I really, I really like it. And so from a generational perspective, I think that the new generation are much more aware about why sustainability it's important, and they should all aim towards a more sustainable future. And to get a more sustainable future, they need to be more sustainable themselves, and they need to gather abilities that get them to this point. And these abilities all come with knowledge, right? Because how can you justify, how can you discriminate if something is sustainable or not, if a process is sustainable or not, if you don't know what sustainability is? So what I see is that new generation are actually are leading and paving the way into this changing. But now comes my but. So sometimes I think it's too easy to put it into a generation, and would be somehow also discriminatory towards other generation, which on their hand prepared all the ground so we could arrive here. So I don't like to say that they were not ready for a sustainable change, because they're actually the one that are changing the most, because they're not native into this new era of sustainability. While for new generation, probably it's also easier to think about it because they were born into an era where everyone is just talking about that.
Okay, so we have to be open-minded across generations, basically.
Yeah.
That brings me to the TikTok generation, because this week every ChemCon TV cartoon features a cameo from an Italian brain rot character. Today, Granata Olate. She's visualizing the dissemination of knowledge and skills. So the question for you ladies is, how can digital tools help with the dissemination of knowledge and skills? And would, for instance, gamification be a tool to reach out to a younger generation?
Yes, I think this is a great question, actually. And I think, for instance, TikTok or Instagram can actually be a great help. I have a great example from Finland, from my association. We have a younger generation TikTok star employed with us, who's done TikTok and Instagram for us for the past 3 years. And she has a STEM background herself. She's an engineer, or is going to be an engineer. And what she does is in terms of videos and showcasing what we can do with chemistry has become very, very popular. And I know teachers, I know a lot of parents who actually use her videos to showcase why chemistry is interesting and important, and what you can actually use chemistry in the kitchen for instance. So I think this is absolutely useful, because then I think that we need to in the future have new talent for STEM and with STEM. We need to show why it's important. We need to show why it's interesting in the first place. We need to be able to attract young people. And here I think really we need digital tools. We need gamification, because otherwise I think it might be difficult to actually show why the interest should be there, or why it's cool to know chemistry, why it's cool to know STEM.
Okay.
And I think that's in the core.
And Marta, some gamification suggestions?
Yeah, so for me, it's the key. Gamification, I love it because it's a way to connect fun to learn. And when you have fun connected to learning, then learning, it's not heavy anymore, and you learn faster, you learn better, you have stronger memory, because basically you're connecting an emotion. So, and every time that a keyword or a concept or something, it's connected to an emotion, then it's a way more powerful concept. And emotion here, it's fun. I use it a lot. I try to use it every time that I can, whenever I have seminars, whenever we have even a team meeting in my in the team that I work in Elsevier. So that's really a point. Gamification, it's the key for the new education, I would say. And we start from education, and then we can apply everywhere else.
Okay. Marta, you currently work at Elsevier, where you are involved in the Reaxis Academy. Can you explain what that is and teach us some lessons from this initiative?
Yes, and that goes exactly into the direction of gamification. So thank you for the question. It's really up to the point. So I currently work in Elsevier, and I'm responsible for several databases that serves the life sciences community. Reaxis is one of them. And as a database, it's something digital, right? And it's perceived from non-chemistry community, something that might be difficult because it speaks chemistry, and everyone knows that the word chemistry, there is a lot of chemophobia around. So non-chemist people might have some already harsh feeling connected to, to their memory when they learn chemistry at school. Again, going back to memories. And so what we decided to develop, it's a series of video, very short one, because we know that the attention of young generation, but also not non-young generation now, it's below 5 minutes. Short video that were tackling real problem and try to give solutions or means or tools for solution using our chemistry database, which is Reaxis. And what was my role into it, it was really understanding what could be a student problem and what could be a librarian problem, and how a librarian can help out students, or a teacher can help out students to tackling their problem. And of course, since we need to have game also on top of it, we had a quiz, which was giving some certificates at the very end, because if you have a badge that you can show, that's also something that it proves that you achieved something, right? And at the end of the day, we also want to improve ourselves, not just because we know that, but also because it might be useful in the future.
Thank you. I don't need a badge, but I just learned that videos have to be maximum 5 minutes. But if you don't mind, I still have a few additional questions.
Sure.
So, Anni, what changes would you recommend to training approaches to better align with future skill needs?
I think Marta just said it all. I think gamification is one of them, definitely. But if I take a more conservative approach, maybe, then I would like to say cooperation. We need more cooperation between educational institutions and the industry. I would like to also encourage every industrial company here to actually think about youth, to think about the next generation, and think about how we can offer possibilities for somebody who's considering chemistry or considering chemical industry. I think this is a sector that is fairly unknown to youth. So the more we can provide apprenticeships, the more we can provide possibilities to cooperate with schools, the more we can maybe even go to schools and set that example, showcasing to the youth that this is what an engineer does, and isn't this actually really nice? Then I think this would be a great help for a lot of educational institutions, for a lot of young people trying to choose what to do in the future. So I would like to say a more cooperational approach maybe to education and training would be helpful, obviously requiring it from the industry as well then.
More cooperation. Personally, I believe in training on the job, since a master has failed many more times than a beginner has ever tried. And as a beginner, you can learn the master many new skills. Marta, what is your view on this?
So I also believe training, it's part of it, because you need to know what you're judging about, right? So how can you make informed decision if you don't know what you're talking about? And the training, it's the perfect possibility to get into that. Also experience, as you said, master failed more times than beginner. So experience also is a play, is a role here. But experience is not just, and training, not just you actually doing something, but everyone can also benefit from mentoring and can benefit from mentor and coach figures, which could be totally not from their own company, but from other companies. It could be also from academia. It could be a mix. So that's my view on it, that experience and training are really benefiting, but also having someone that went through this and can guide you through it would really help you to make more informed decision.
And Headmaster Anni, what is your view?
Yes, so well, I would go back to the cooperation still. I think Marta mentioned mentoring. I think this is exactly something that we we need to maybe foster between educational institutions and industry better. I would like to see from people working in the industry that they would actually volunteer for something like this, for roles like this. Then if I again go back to my favorite thematics, cooperation between industry and policy making between industry and educational institutions, I think the more we bring people together to roundtables, the more we bring people together in conferences like this, all the more better we then understand each other and each other's needs. And this is, I think, something both the policymakers and educational institutions need. Why not also parents and younger generation to then actually understand the possibilities of industry? But I really, really think we need to bring people together in also old-fashioned ways to sit together in one room and talk.
So we're sitting together and Marta is online. Let's go for the final question. What steps can industry, regulators and educators take to better align and prepare the workforce for the green and digital transformation?
I think we need to believe in education. We need to believe in STEM. That everybody needs to believe in STEM. We need to turn the curve in Europe. We are not as great in STEM subject as we used to be in every single European country, apart from Estonia maybe at the moment. Coming from a former great PISA country myself, I have thought about this quite a bit, and I think we need to really agree between education and between policy making that we are going to make investment in educational politics, educational policy, and especially in STEM, because this is important for the competitiveness of industry. I think education is always an investment, and this is how I would like every single politician to see this. Then apart from that, I think we also need to understand that we do not talk about academia only or basic education only. We also have to address vocational education and training. We have to understand that process industry is going to need process workers also in the future. We will have digitalisation, automatization to help us, but we will still need people. And then we need to also invest in those people, and we need to invest in reskill and upskill. And this is all about cooperation as well between industry and educational institutions.
Okay, thank you. Marta?
So, of course, again, I will just start from what Anni just said, because I second every single word that you mentioned here. On top of it, I would add, it's not just believing in people, but we should be able to empower people. We should be able to empower new generation, but also empower older generation. So it's people like literally everyone that is working into this direction needs to believe in themselves and needs to believe in the others, that we possess those skills to make the transformation.
So, educational empowerment. Thank you, Anni and Marta, for teaching us valuable lessons today, like the fact that education is the most powerful weapon you can use to change the world. But are we willing to change? It's never too late to learn, and I believe you can teach an old dog new tricks.